the civilian employees of the U.S. Air Force. They're not in the military, yet they take the same oath. They don't wear the uniform, but they stand shoulder to shoulder with those who do. They're patriotic, hard-working Americans. They are the everyday heroes of Air Force civilian service. Forces joined.
Well, good evening, everyone. It's Wednesday, September 4th, and I'd like to welcome you all to today's Aim Higher live webinar. I'm Ryan Schneider, AFCS Marketing and Brand Management Specialist, and I'll be your host as we bring you another of our always popular Living the Life episodes. That's right, we'll be diving into the exciting and rewarding world of civilian careers with the United States Air Force. So whether you're considering a new path or looking to enhance the one you're currently on, you're in the right place to learn about the incredible opportunities that await you as part of the Air Force civilian service. In just a few minutes, I'm going to introduce you to two incredible AFCS employees, both of whom will share their wealth of work experience and passion with you, our audience. Not only will they talk about their personal journeys with you, they'll also share insights into the benefits of working with the Air Force, along with some tips on how you can make the most of a civilian career in this dynamic and impactful environment. So sit back, enjoy the presentation, and who knows, maybe in the very near future, it'll be you who's living this exceptional life as an AFCS employee. Now, before I have tonight's guests introduce themselves, let's get started by getting to know you, our audience, just a little bit better with our first poll of the show. Audience, we would like to know, what interests you most about a civilian career with the U.S. Air Force? Is it A, job stability and benefits, B, opportunities for growth and advancement, C, working on cutting-edge technology, or our last answer here, contributing to national security? We're going to give you about 10 seconds to answer before we go over the results with you. Take your time. So it looks like our top one here was opportunities for growth and advancement. So it's clear that many of you are driven by the opportunities for the growth and advancement, and the U.S. Air Force is a perfect place to pursue that ambition. Whether you're looking to climb the career ladder, specialize in a niche area, or even broaden your skills across different fields, the Air Force does offer a range of developmental programs, mentorship opportunities, and pathways that can help you achieve your career goals while making a real impact. We appreciate you all sharing our thoughts with us. We'll have another poll later on in the show. Right now, we do want to take a moment to have our guests introduce themselves. Emily, let's start with you. Could you tell us a little bit about what it is that you do?
Hi, everyone. My name is Emily Lemke. I am a logistics management specialist working on the F-16 Service Life Extension Program at Hill Air Force Base. So I started with AFCS as a Premier College Intern and then transitioned into my current role as a Palace Acquire about 3 years ago. I moved from Texas to Utah for this job, and I absolutely love the unique challenges and the significant impact my work has.
Thank you very much, Emily. Also joining me this evening is Alex. Alex, can you introduce yourself for our audience, please?
Yeah, hey everybody. Like he said, my name is Alex Hallemeier. I am a computer engineer in the cyberspace and IT career field. I'm currently a third-year Palace Acquired or PAC intern at Tinker Air Force Base in Oklahoma City. I got recruited to join the Air Force Civilian Service right out of college during one of my school's career fairs, and then moved across the country from St. Louis for this role. My team and I work on piloting new technologies to enhance the information technology user experience across the Air Force.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Alex. I'm sure our audience is eager to hear more from both you and Emily. So moving back over to Emily, our next question is, what has been the biggest surprise for you since joining the Air Force as a civilian? Did it meet your expectations, or were there any surprises along the way?
Honestly, everything was a surprise for me since I had no military background. And like I said, I moved from Texas and I'd never been to Utah before. The size of the base surprised me and it was very, very overwhelming. And also understanding the impact my work has was very eye-opening. But I quickly grew to love it and I really enjoy my job.
And it's a little bit cooler over there in Utah, is it not?
Today, I think the high was 78.
We had, I think, almost 90 here. So yeah, it's a little bit cooler there. Alex, same question for you. Was there anything that surprised you or kind of caught you off guard?
Yeah, for me, it was the biggest surprise was realizing how far-reaching my work could be. I get to travel to really cool places like Germany and Hawaii, and I get to work with some of the best cyberspace operators out there on unique and interesting projects. So seeing how my projects affect the Air Force operations globally was a huge surprise, especially when I consider that the work I'm doing has direct implications on the major global events that I hear about every morning on the news. A big challenge for me was the military culture initially. So I came from a background with little or no military cultural exposure, but over time I've gotten more comfortable with it. And now I can throw around acronyms and Air Force jargon, and it kind of feels like second nature.
Awesome. Once you start speaking that language, the jargons and the acronyms, you really kind of start fitting in, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, it's really nice to hear that you kind of discovered your impact reaching further than you expected. It lends to that notion that we're kind of part of something bigger than ourselves, that bigger picture, supporting something greater than ourselves. So, thank you for sharing. Now, Emily, we've all heard the term cold feet, and I'm sure most of us have all felt this at some point in our lives. I know I did in fifth grade when I had to talk about Panama for the first time. For you, were there any moments early on when you may have second guessed your decision to join AFCS? And if so, how did you overcome that obstacle?
Oh my goodness, yeah. So my dad drove with me from Texas to Utah when I moved as an intern, and I cried the whole 45-minute drive home from the airport since I didn't know anybody in Utah, and I definitely questioned my decision. But once I started working and got to know my team, I quickly realized I made the right choice. The support I received from my colleagues made all of the difference.
So despite the unknown, you continued onward. It's very good to hear. Alex, how
Yes.
about you? Did you have any moments where you were unsure if you wanted to go through with your career, with the Air Force Civilian Service?
Yeah, I had very similar doubts. Like Emily, I moved across the country for this job. I was born and raised in St. Louis and went to college in Missouri as well. So I had to leave behind all my friends and my family, and that was a huge personal hurdle for me to overcome. But I think in the long run, it was beneficial for my own growth to get out of my comfort zone and experience a new place and meet new people. Also, like I mentioned, I had no prior military experience, so I didn't really know what organizational culture I was getting into. But like I said, after spending some time in the environment, especially going to things like the officer training school in Biloxi, Mississippi, I really started to understand and adapt to the culture, and now I feel much more confident and settled in my role.
Very cool. So on the flip side of that coin, can you all share a moment when you knew you made the right decision to begin a career with Air Force Civilian Service? Emily, what can you tell us about your experience on this?
For me, there's been a couple of moments. The first big one was when I got to get up close to an F-22, and I even climbed up to the cockpit during my internship. The amazement and pride that I felt, and let's be honest, my new bragging rights, was the first time I knew I made the right choice. And most recently, it was when I realized the impact of the F-16 Service Life Extension Program, because I extend the life of these aircraft by about 20 years for approximately $5 million, whereas buying a new one would cost significantly more than that. And knowing that my work was saving the government a ton of money really hit home for me.
There it is again, that bigger picture feeling. And that makes me honestly very happy to know that both of y'all are feeling that feeling and it's not just a myth. So thank you for sharing. Alex, how about you? Any moment that kind of solidified that warm, fuzzy feeling that you'd made the right career choice?
Yeah, I also have a couple of moments. The first was when I saw some maintainers using our IT systems that we helped to develop. So we were walking around on a separate project, and my team found we found ourselves on the flight line with a group of maintainers, who are the folks that help maintain the Air Force's planes. And while we were walking around, I got to witness how they were utilizing the iPads that we helped their organization on board several months before. So seeing the long-term impacts and seeing our work in action, it was incredibly rewarding and definitely confirmed I'm in the right place.
That's
I can think of another example where our team worked on a project where we helped to install a large system of networking equipment at a base, and that helped them overcome a major technical limitation that prohibited their phone systems to work correctly. And then after we finished our work, it was brought up to our team that the work we did really influenced about 7,000 people that work there on the base. So it hit me then that the work that I do every day has the potential to influence the lives of so many others, and I think that's super cool.
Yeah, very cool indeed. You know, my first position as an active duty member of the Air Force didn't give me the opportunity to see my work in action. I was part of this career field known way back in the day as aircrew life support, and we provided life-saving equipment to like crew members if they ever encountered an emergency situation. So thankfully, not seeing my work in action was a good thing, but I still knew I was in the right place. And Alex, you mentioned it earlier. I know a lot of people ask me personally, like, do you need prior military experience to be part of the Air Force Civilian Service? And you kind of mentioned you had none. To those of you in our audience with that same question, you'll be glad to know that while we take the same oath, share the same mission, serving in the armed forces is not a requirement to become part of the AFCS family. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't plug this. To learn more, we encourage you to visit our website at afciviliancareers.com. Again, that's afciviliancareers.com. That AF stands for Air Force. All right, enough of my trip down memory lane and a plug for our website, of course. Emily and Alex, AFCS is known for supporting the professional growth of its employees, and I know you both are partaking in some pretty cool stuff. Can you please share how AFCS has helped each of you grow professionally? Emily, we'll start with you again.
The opportunities for growth have honestly been really incredible. You guys are paying for my master's degree, which is a huge benefit. And you also have paid for my undergraduate loans, which was also very nice. But beyond that, in my everyday life, the team has been incredibly supportive, and they allow me to take time to focus on my studies. So a couple of weeks ago, I had an exam that I needed a couple more hours to study for, and they let me take the afternoon off. And everybody, as I was walking out the door, was like, "Good luck, Emily. You'll do great." And I've also had quite a few informal mentorship for my lead. We sit down and she asks if logistics is what I want to do and also offers different paths. So it's not my team isn't there to support me in my current position, but they're there to support me in my career and who I am becoming, which has been really, really awesome to feel that support.
It's really awesome. It sounds to me like you hit the jackpot, and I'm really happy that you did. Alex, I understand you've hit a similar jackpot. Do you mind sharing with us your story as well?
Yeah, definitely. So Emily and I share a lot of the same background. I also am going through the Palace Acquired program now. And through that, the AFCS has supported me in obtaining technical certifications and covering the training costs associated with achieving them. And also, like Emily, they're funding my master's degree, which I'm actually about to complete here in the next week. So I'm very excited about that.
Very cool.
Also, I found the vectoring program very valuable. So each year I get to submit my resume to higher Air Force leadership, and they go through it and provide me with a list of training opportunities that align with my career goals. From there, I can go through their list of recommended trainings, register and attend those trainings through the next few calendar years. And my specific organization is very supportive of me taking these professional development courses and wants to help me succeed in my career goals as well. So this program has overall been very crucial in helping me advance my career.
Very cool. Congrats to you both. For me, it's great to hear that each of you is thriving in like a supporting environment. Emily, you kind of touched on that, especially that folks were like, "Hey, good luck." I love hearing success stories. Obviously, that's why we met a few weeks ago and we're able to kind of get you all on the show. So thank you for sharing. All right, audience, time to hear from you again for the second poll of the evening. Get those fingers ready because AFCS wants to know, what kind of environment do you thrive in? Is it collaborative and team-oriented, independent and self-directed, fast-paced and dynamic, or structured and organized? And again, we'll give you about 10 seconds, give or take a few, just to let you punch those in before we go over everything with you here in just a moment. It looks like, wow, okay. So 55% of you said collaborative and team-oriented. So it's really great to see that so many of you thrive in that collaborative and team-oriented environment, because working within the U.S. Air Force as a civilian offers plenty of those opportunities to engage in teamwork where collaboration isn't just encouraged, it's essential. You know, whether you're working on like cutting edge technology, managing complex projects, or contributing to critical missions, you're going to be surrounded by passionate professionals, like Alex and Emily, who are eager to share their knowledge, support you and others, and achieve great things together. So honestly, we really do appreciate the audience. I can't see you out there. We're kind of hidden behind this curtain, if you will, but we appreciate you guys sharing, and gals sharing your answers with us, because it helps us kind of keep the show going. Feels like we're interacting, even though we can't see you. But as a little reward for your contributions, our next question should lend some much needed insight to those of you aspiring to become part of our little AFCS family. Actually, we're pretty big, 180,000 plus now. All right, so Emily, what advice would you give to someone considering a career within AFCS?
It would definitely be to find a mentor. So they have a formal process to find a mentor. I have personally not done that, but I have a friend who's done that and she loves it. They meet weekly or however often she wants, and they go over personal goals, career goals, and all of those things. I have taken the informal approach. And like I mentioned, it's finding people that support you and want to see you succeed. When I told them I was meeting with you guys tonight, everyone on my team wanted to come and say hi and wave as to support. And it's definitely makes going to work more enjoyable and fulfilling. So definitely surround yourself with good people and find good mentors.
That's really good advice. I served 20 years on active duty, and I've been here with AFCS for 2 years now, and I just learned something from you. I did not know there's a formal process to find a mentor. I thought you just kind of had to pick your own or hope that you knew somebody good and just kind of talk with them and ask them. So really good advice. I'm
It's
taking it for
relatively
sure.
new.
Yeah, well, I'm going to look into it. So thank you for letting that. All right, Alex, same question. Can you lend our audience members some great advice on this?
Yeah, I would say that it's very important to find an organization that shares your values. If you're in a place that aligns with what you care about, I think you'll find that your work is much more fulfilling. And there's so many exciting options and opportunities within an organization as large as AFCS. So if one group doesn't fit you perfectly, there's always, or there, at least there's usually options to try something new. With that, I think you also need to be open-minded about where your career might take you. There are, like I said, there's many opportunities within AFCS that can match your skills and interests. So once you have your foot in the door, try and seek out the career path that is going to fit you the best.
I really like that, being open-minded about where your career might take you. I've got a lot of kids, and I've made a lot of career changes, and I have to say that's great advice, because sometimes we think we know what path we want, and then we find out once we get there that it might not be what we wanted. But like you said at the end there, put your foot in the door and then kind of see what we have, look around. It's really great advice. So all right, let's talk about your experiences with the AFCS internship programs. Emily, can you walk us through what that looked like for you?
Yes. So I started as an intern approximately 3 years ago, like I said. I was only an intern for about 10 weeks, which was shorter than everybody else in my group, but that was because of school. But it was a great introduction. I learned lots of acronyms, like Alex said, there's lots of them. So in the afternoon, for a couple hours, my team would sit down and we would go through all of them, which was incredibly helpful. I was worried that I wouldn't remember them when I came back a year later, but to my surprise, I remembered a good chunk of them. Um, so after I completed my 10-week internship, I went back to school at Texas Tech to finish out my degree. And after I completed my degree, I came back to Utah for the PAC program, which Alex and I are both in. And the Air Force even paid for my move from Texas to Utah, which was incredibly helpful. And like I mentioned earlier, they're funding my master's and paid back my student loans. So
That's very cool.
it's been
I think
my,
it's amazing.
my
I
adventure.
still, well, I still think it's amazing that y'all are taking advantage of such an awesome opportunity. Alex, I know you had a similar experience, obviously, internship and PAC, but go ahead and tell us what your experience was like. We'd like to hear it.
Yeah, so I started as a PCIP or Premier College Intern in 2020,
Mhm.
which was the COVID year. So the entire 6-week internship was online, which made the big move the following year even more difficult when I decided to go full time as a PAC. But I think it was very much worth it because over the next 3 years in the PAC program, I got to experience such a wide variety of challenges, which grew me both personally and professionally. I've had the opportunity to take on things like leadership roles for teams of engineers that are 20 years my senior, travel to some of the world's most amazing places, and meet some of the best coworkers, mentors, and friends that anybody could ask for. Also, like Emily mentioned, the Air Force is covering my certifications, training, and my master's degree, all of which are major components to advancing me to the next stages of my career. And I'm super grateful for all those opportunities.
I have to say, you've mentioned earlier Germany, Hawaii. I'm a little jealous. I haven't got to travel to those places just yet, honestly, even after spending as long as I did in the Air Force. But I think it's pretty freaking awesome that you have been able to do that already. So very cool. And honestly, we're grateful for both you and Emily being here today. I have to give a shout out to Miss Brenna here for giving me y'all's names. So we reach out to folks that we know very frequently that have been on the show before, that we've networked with. And when I asked Miss Brenna if she had two really good folks that were young that maybe wanted to come on the show, had a great experience, y'all were at the top of her list. And so when I reached out to you, it was like 3 weeks ago? Y'all were both very well. I reached out to your supervisors first, but y'all were both very eager and happy to share your story. So thank you. So for those of you in the audience that don't know, these aren't folks that we've built relationships for years on. Some of them are very brand new to the Air Force. Some of them have, been around for a while. We're just meeting them, but these folks are willingly sharing their time and their stories, and we're just so incredibly grateful. So thank you. All right, for those of you watching that are interested in applying, we do encourage you to explore AFCS career opportunities. There's a lot of them out there. And these two folks that have joined us tonight, Emily and Alex, are living proof that you can take some pretty incredible paths with us. Before we wrap things up tonight, I did want to open the floor up. We have plenty of time to do this. So audience, this is your time to ask questions directly to both Emily and Alex. We're going to screen them, of course, but let's see what's on your minds before we wrap things up tonight. So I'm going to go over to my other screen here. We have quite a few, it looks like. So Emily, Alex, these are completely candid, just off the wall here. One person says, how strict is the 2-year post-graduation window for the Palace Acquire program? Either of you are welcome to answer. Both of you are welcome to answer. If you don't know, it's totally fine. But anybody can go.
Is this in reference to the commitment to the PAC program?
It looks like they're asking more like how strict is the 2-year post-grad window. So I would assume that this is asking if they graduated 3 years ago, is there any wiggle room? If it was 2.5 years ago, is there some wiggle room? Like what can they do in that instance?
Yeah, I don't personally know the answer to that question. Being somebody that got hired right out of the PCIP internship program after I graduated, I didn't run into that particular issue.
Okay, Emily?
For me too, I onboarded about 2 weeks after I graduated. I had a friend who onboarded about 6 months after, and I know that they were really rushing to get her started. I do know if you are more than or about 2 years, I think there's a developmental program, which is fairly similar to the PAC program. I think the biggest difference are the benefits, and you don't rotate through different programs like Alex and I have.
Gotcha. Well, I'll also add to this because there's always that catch-all and we're kind of trained to answer what we can. For those of you that are wondering the answer to that question, I'm going to tell you first and foremost, you won't know unless you apply, right? Because if you don't take the shot, you're 100% going to miss those shots you don't take. So at least try. The other thing you can do is go on afintern.com and do some research on our site. That's actually a subsite of our actual overarching website. And if that still doesn't give you the answer you're looking for, you're welcome to reach out to us via private message on any of our social channels, Facebook, X, Twitter, Instagram, etc. Hit us up, ask the question, and worst case, we will put you in touch with the actual SOAR team, which is the Strategic Outreach and Recruiting Team for the PAC and PCIP programs. So hopefully we get you an answer one way or another. All right, next question. How soon after your first role are you eligible for a master's degree?
I started my master's degree as soon as I onboarded as a Palace Acquire. I know that you have to complete your master's degree within your graduation from the program for them to pay 100% of it. And I picked a fairly lengthy program, so I wanted to get started as soon as possible to make sure it's all covered.
Okay. Alex, anything to add there?
Yeah, very similar. I got started as soon as I onboarded in the PAC program. I started working on my master's. But for those in the audience that aren't part of or wouldn't be part of the PAC program, I know that there's still the opportunity to get a partial amount of your tuition for a master's degree paid for through AFCS as well.
Awesome. All right. This next one is a fun one. It says, is it possible to find a mentor without being a part of AFCS yet? And I'm assuming you're looking for somebody possibly within Air Force Civilian Service or somebody with some military background, etc. And Emily and Alex, I'm going to lead this one, and then y'all can add anything because you both had some really good info, especially you, Emily. So I would say network, network, network. Absolutely network. So even if you're not a part of AFCS yet and you're looking for a mentor, obviously being part of something like this, our webinar, is a great place to start. You can also follow us on LinkedIn and our other social platforms, but LinkedIn is probably going to be one of our better networking platforms. You'll start to connect with folks there, folks that are in the career field. I also, I'm not trying to blow you all up here. Emily, Alex might be really great places to start connecting with them on LinkedIn as well if they have profiles, so you can look for them as well. But any members that you see that are part of AFCS that are maybe aligned with your career goals, I'd absolutely send them a message, connect, and just start networking, going to events, whether they're virtual or in person, especially if they're hosted by Air Force Civilian Service, is a big plus. So mentorship. Emily, Alex, anything to add on that?
One thing that was super beneficial for me was my first informal mentor was actually an active duty lieutenant. So we were both figuring out what Air Force life looked like together. I was able to show him what it was like as a civilian, and he was able to show me what it was like in active duty and interacting with the military, because like I said, I had no experience with military, so I needed the baby steps and the baby introductions and all of that. I honestly thought I would be saluting people like 10 times a day when I started working in the military, but to my surprise, pleasantly, I have not had to salute very many people.
Not
So
a
definitely
requirement
find
for us, huh?
yeah. So definitely find people who aren't in the same path as you are for that.
Awesome. Alex, anything to add on terms of the mentorship topic there?
Yeah, I was just going to mention I personally found out about AFCS through my college's career fair. So that could be a great place to go to if you're still in college, or if there's a sort of an out of college career fair situation.
Mhm.
And also we get we'll go to conferences occasionally, and have a booth set up where we work with maybe groups of people coming in, taking a look at what we're doing at our specific organization, and so that might be a route to go as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I really like that. The next question is kind of a segue on that, and it says, what's the best way to get your foot in the door? And on the topic of networking, attending events, and again, not to plug, but that's what we do, afciviliancareers.com/events. That's our events page, and all of our major events that are hosted by Air Force Civilian Service. That's a great place to kind of look and see what's going on. If there's something local for you and you can show up, great. If not, we do have virtual events from time to time, or at least some way for folks to get in touch with our recruiting team or our hiring managers if we're doing some type of large scale event. We have a new thing that we call a digital hiring project, which is in a sense a resume repository where we put out a virtual event and you're actually attending or like submitting your resume, and that's how you kind of partake in that event. So you don't actually meet with anybody, but a actual screening team is looking at your resume, and if they're interested in you, whether it be networking, hiring, etc., then they're going to reach out to you personally and get in touch with you. So those are great places. Again, afciviliancareers.com/events is a great place to kind of see where those events are happening and when. So anything to add? Best way to get your foot in the door, Alex or Emily, either one.
I can piggyback off of something that you said earlier, Ryan, is
Mhm.
you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So I think just getting your resume out there in front of as many people as you can is a great place to start.
Agreed. Emily?
I had a very unique way of finding this job. Somebody from Hill emailed someone who emailed somebody who emailed somebody who emailed my professor, and it made its way into my inbox. But you guys can add me on LinkedIn, send me messages. I see that a couple of you guys have. But yeah, that's one way.
Awesome. All right. Let's see. The next question here. This is a fun one. I like this one. And it's for Emily, but I'd like to also hear from Alex as well. What is the best part about working for the Air Force as a civilian? So Emily, go ahead and start, and
I
I want to hear from Alex too.
I like the benefits. I get every other Friday off, which is very nice. I start my day at 6 a.m. I'm off at 3:30, so I have the rest of the day to myself. Um, I also like that the amount of time that you've been in the Air Force, you get more leave and time off. So your first 3 years, you receive about 6 hours of pay period, and then after that, you go up to 6, and then after a couple more years, you go up to 8 hours. So that part's been very nice. Like Alex, I have been blessed with the job that allows me to travel. I've been to Poland, Belgium, um, South Korea. I'm going to the Czech Republic, Germany, and Hawaii soon. So that also has been very, very nice. I've enjoyed that aspect. But pretty much everything about the Air Force, so much so that I told my sister that she should look into this when she was looking for internships. So I've liked everything
Y'all
about
need
the
a
Air Force.
chaperone on any of those trips coming up?
Probably.
Y'all are going more places in a few years than I've been in all my time. That's crazy. Totally awesome too. So that's really great. No, I love that question. Alex, for you, same question. What's the best part about working as an Air Force civilian for you?
Yep, it's 100% the work-life balance. We have a work hard, play hard mentality here, where projects come hot and heavy, and then once they're done, you get to relax and take time, be with your family, be with your friends. Um, I am a uh, bicycle racer in my free time, so working in the Air Force Civilian Service gives me the opportunity to train for the bike racing that I love to do, and that's a huge part of my life. So
Very cool. Yeah, I always love that question. We do develop a script with these folks. We interview them ahead of time, our panelists, our guests. But audience, we do love those types of questions because it is off the cuff, and sometimes we don't have enough time at the end of each episode to ask these kinds of things. So we love them. We have a few more questions here, and I'm absolutely thrilled that they're still coming in. So somebody said, "Is a PhD acceptable?" And I can tell you what I know, but I'd rather hear from Alex and Emily because y'all are our guests. So what do you think?
I think it would be I
Um,
think it would be amazing to have a PhD. I wish I had one.
Yeah,
yeah, I agree.
absolutely. So I know that an audience member is probably asking, like, is it accepted? And the bottom line is that so every position that the Air Force has on the civilian side, it has, just like in the regular civilian world, you're going to have a set of qualifications that you have to meet. And the best place to go, again, afciviliancareers.com, you check it out. You can do the / find a job with a hyphen between on both sides of the A's. But if you just go to our website and look up the job carousel or the hot jobs map, you're going to see all the different things across the world that we have available right now. These are hard to fills, direct hire, authority positions, so on and so forth. But we have a team of about 20 recruiters that work with hiring managers across the Air Force to fill those positions. And some of them you're going to see, depending on what the role is, there might be no education. It's just going to be a matter of like experience. Some of them are entry level, some of them are very high up. But those are minimum qualifications. So if you need a bachelor's, in one of the STEM fields and you have a PhD, yeah, you're going to be well beyond that. There is such a thing as being overqualified, but again, everybody has to start somewhere. And if you take a position that fits for you, you always, with those qualifications, are going to have an opportunity to move up, move around, just like Alex was saying. You don't have to stay in one role. you can get your foot in the door, figure out what fits, where you want to be. And we encourage that. It's called, career growth. So we'd like to see you move up and, through the ranks that we have, the GS system. Hopefully, if you come in entry level, I'm sure these folks at one point are going to be probably well above me and hit that GS 14, 15 level. And, I might be reporting to them one day, but absolutely. PhD, look into it. I'm sure there's plenty out there that you could qualify for with that. All right. Next question here is, if you have no prior experience in your field, do you need to start with an internship? I'm guessing start with an internship, or is it possible to get it like a GS5 job with just a degree? So that might be a good one as far as the interns and stuff go, like how y'all did that. Where were you at with your education when you applied? That might be a good way to start.
I had 1 year left before I graduated.
Okay.
Well, I guess I had 2 years. So I graduated within 3 years, and the fall before my last summer, I applied and had an internship for the following summer. Did my internship, went back to school, finished out my degree, and then I came back.
Okay. Alex, anything to add on that?
Yeah, I was in the same position. I graduated 1 year after my internship. And I believe we've had other interns come in and start, immediately following their bachelor's degree without having gone through the PCIP intern process beforehand. So no work experience in their field, but just a bachelor's degree was enough to get their foot in the door.
Awesome. And I think that perfectly answers that question. So hopefully that hits the nail on the head for the individual that asked about that. Thank you for that answer, Alex and Emily. All right. Here's one that's fun. If I'm graduating in May, should I apply for the PCIP first, or should I apply directly to PAC? What do y'all think on that one?
I think I would probably advise to just go straight for the PAC program.
Mm-hmm.
Although I think it's probably easier to get a PAC position had you gone through the PCIP internship beforehand. I don't really think that program is necessarily tailored to people that are already out of school. So maybe the PAC, going directly to the PAC program would be better.
Okay. Emily, anything to add?
Nope, I agree with all that.
Awesome. And I can tell you that, gosh, what are we in here? September now? So it was about this time last year. My daughter was in the same situation and asked the same question. I graduated in May. What should I apply to? She did apply to the PCIP program. And what was really cool is that they will find the fit for you if they want you. And lucky for her, she got picked up. So I was really, really happy. Proud papa moment. And not to brag on her, but same thing. So I guess in short, I'll go ahead and apply for something. Don't wait. Don't sit around and wait. They made their decision for her in December, and she was picked up for what was called the pipeline program. So neither PCIP or PAC, but she was brought in for a 2-year internship. And that was before she finished. And then once she finished, now they're making her a permanent position, in another proud papa moment. But I have to agree with what both Emily and Alex said. Just get your foot in the door. Just apply for something. Don't wait. If you're interested now, apply now, because you're fueling that fire right now with just thinking about it. Don't wait. Get the foot in the door. All right. Here's a good one, and I can answer this because I don't know if y'all know the answer to it, but does AFCS hire on the spot at hiring events? Oh, yes, we do. And in fact, we have a few recruiters behind the scenes answering some questions throughout the show that can tell you firsthand that they absolutely do. We work with some of the large organizations across the Air Force, from AFMC to AFLCMC, and I'm not even going to try to go into the acronyms right now because I will mess them up. But just know that there's some major organizations out there within the Department of the Air Force that are hiring all the time. And we set up large events across the nation where we go out, we try to do screening ahead of time, set up interviews, and yes, there are plenty of hiring on the spot happening, and it's one of our most successful events, types of things that we do to date. So it's very exciting to see when they send us like, hey, we need X amount of people, and we hit or exceed those numbers because of the work our recruiters are doing and the name that AFCS has built for itself, along with the help of the hiring managers, the organizations. So in short, yes, we hire on the spot. All right. I think we got the second half to that question with, should I apply now? It says, along with that, should I wait until I graduate to apply? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Should I wait until I graduate to apply or apply now? I'm going to just say apply now. Just do it. Because here's the thing. If you apply now, I mean, our folks are smart enough that are going to be screening the PCIP folks. And if they look and go, hey, this person's going to be graduating and they're making a decision in December, they're going to find a spot for you if they want you. They're going to say, okay, hey, we're going to bring you on and we're going to wait until you become a PAC and put you in there, or we're going to put you right into the PCIP, or we're going to do the pipeline. So if you wait, you're only hurting yourself as far as time goes. But if you're putting your name out there now, the worst they can tell you is, hey, reapply to this program in a couple of months or whatever the case may be. But at least your name is out there and it has been seen by one of our actual human beings, not AI or a bot or something that's screening people out. We don't do that. So absolutely don't wait, apply now. Foot stomping the heck out of that one.
Going off of that, the guy in charge of my PAC program moves mountains for the resumes that he likes. He finds jobs that he thinks that you'll fit into. He says, apply in a year, or I have this position coming available. I think he's called somebody back 2 or 3 times with 2 or 3 different jobs because he just really liked that resume. So get your resume in. If they really like you, they'll find a position for you. So
that's good advice. And I mean, honestly, by submitting your resume, like right now, let's just say there's 100 people in the audience and none of you apply. But tomorrow, all of you apply. But there's 100 people that just networked with AFCS, and somebody's going to be looking at your resume and seeing your name. And now you have at least opened the door of possibility to yourself and for us to know who you are. So please, please, please don't wait. Put your resume together. Don't rush it, of course, work on it and take a good look. Even on our, again, here's a plug for the site. On our website, you can find some resume guides and some help and stuff like that as well. But yeah, all in all, I think the message here is don't wait, apply now. Can you guys give us any resume tips? Not on this show, there's not enough time. I wish we could. We've talked about doing an episode just completely around the whole resume, piece and everything. That would be a long episode. But again, go to the website if you're interested in how to start building a government resume. We have a guide on there that we just revamped and are constantly working on and trying to, keep up with the times. But take a look at it. It is going to seem daunting at first, but I know 2 very eager individuals that love where they're at and what they do. And I'm sure if you networked with them, I mean, they may be able to lend you some advice. So if y'all, sorry, Alex and Emily, you guys are going to see your LinkedIn and social blow up in the next 24 hours. But yeah, I wish we could do more resume tips and everything. So, all right. So I'm going to go ahead and stop us there. We've had plenty of questions. I'd love to give Alex and Emily their evening back. And so I'm just going to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you, Alex, Emily, for, joining us tonight, for being willing to do this, for our audience and your amazing questions. Honestly, y'all keep the lights on, because if there was nobody here, it would just be me, Alex, and Emily talking, and a few recruiters and our, folks that support us with our partners behind the scenes, and we all just kind of be talking to ourselves. Now, just a reminder, all the resources that we mentioned over and over again tonight, I'm sure you know it by now, afciviliancareers.com. They are going to be linked in the chat box. We'll also, in a few weeks here, post the recording of this webinar. So if anybody missed it or you want to share it with folks that for those of you that are in management or leaders out there that maybe want to, share this with some of the younger folks, or those looking into this, all of that stuff's going to be on our website. Again, afciviliancareers.com. I promise that's the last time. So be sure to look for it in the coming weeks. Also, be sure to join us next month on Wednesday, October 2nd for our next Aim Higher live webinar. It's entitled Speaking in Code. We're going to be deciphering the critical role that civilian cyber professionals play in giving the Air Force its decisive advantage. My wonderful office partner, Ms. Cheryl Johnson, will be hosting. You won't want to miss it. And if you haven't picked up yet, and this is your first time joining us, we do this the first Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m. Central. So again, check us out. Until then, follow us on LinkedIn, X for those old school folks like me. It used to be called Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook for more tips and hot jobs. So that's us signing off. Thanks, Emily and Alex. Thank you, audience. We appreciate you all. Have a pleasant evening. All right.